that would result in us being very reactive instead of actually prioritizing what's the most important thing for us. So many times, you could be so busy at work and then ignoring the call from your mom to only, my mom watching this will love it, only to realize that the call from your mom is way more important actually than the work is. But because if you're stressed out or anything, you will just prioritize work, and actually you will make the thing that's more important for you feel like it's less important just because of your management, your time management. Welcome everyone to LifewithLiza podcast. Our mission at LifewithLiza is to share people's stories and the challenges that they have overcome, so that those who are listening in can get the strength, the courage and the hope to be their better selves. Today, I'll be your special guest and I will be sharing my personal stories and struggles regarding productivity. Productivity, time management has been a highly requested topic on my Instagram, and I see that lots of us these days are struggling with productivity and actually getting things done and feeling very stressed when not being able to actually be productive and get things done. And I wanted to dive deeper into this topic, and this one would be just more casual. I was just sitting down and having a conversation. I have not scripted this one, so it will be lots of my thoughts just coming in and me sharing them as I go. So if you're ready, we can dive deeper into it. So I think firstly, there's such a crazy pressure in our society to constantly be productive, to be so productive of a point of a burnout, because you're constantly feeling like you need to be doing something and feeling so guilty whenever you're taking a break or having some rest time. This idea is actually very backwards, because you can work non-stop for a year, 2 years, maybe 10 years depending on you, but eventually you will burn out, because without having sustainability in this cycle, it's not possible to do it for the long term. And that's why incorporating the idea of rest and actually taking good amount of rest and resting the right way is so important for productivity. So let me define what I mean by resting in the right way. For me, resting in the right way is when you actually get to relax. So what many of us do, me included, is whenever we feel like we want to rest, and then we just lay down on the couch, take our phones and start scrolling through Instagram. And this is not a very efficient way to rest, because actually we are just receiving lots of information, lots of dopamine from seeing things that we enjoy seeing, and our minds are not actually rested. Or for example, if you are introverted and you decided to take a day off, and then you scheduled lots of events or seen lots of friends, and then actually you could be quite tired or even more tired because you didn't receive the right rest for you that you needed at that point of time. So for me, the first part of productivity that I would like to mention would be, first of all, the idea of non-stop productivity is not realistic, and for you to be productive over the course of your whole life, you do need to take rest breaks, etc. And when you do take those breaks, I think it's very important to take the right breaks, the breaks that you actually do need, to receive the rest that you need, so that actually when you come back from your break, you are rejuvenated and you're ready to start the work because you received that rest. And then let's move on now. As we established this baseline, we do know that we do need to take breaks, to take rest. Sometimes rest could be 1 week, sometimes it could be 1 day, sometimes it's 1 hour. It depends on what you need. Everyone is also so different, and everyone has different circumstances. So please listen to yourself. Listen to your body, and if your body tells you that you need to rest, take that break. It's worth it, because everything seems so urgent and it feels like you cannot postpone this, and that meeting or that deadline is so important, until you get sick. And then you get sick, and then nothing really matters. You can move and postpone everything, and you just realize how arbitrary those deadlines are, and especially if they just make you stress, it's really not worth it. But in terms of productivity, now moving to the productivity tips and what works for me and the time management, planning. I'm reading now also Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and it's a great book. If you want to improve your productivity, time management, embark on personal development journey, learn about leadership management, and you have not read this book, go read it. It's absolutely awesome. But what I've learned recently from the book and from other personal development books about productivity is that it is very important to plan. It's very important to plan, and to plan not only looking at your day and plan in the morning what you want to get done today, but taking a look at the whole week or the whole month or the whole year and planning, taking into account that big picture. So what I started doing, I got a journal from Intelligent Change. It's a beautiful company. I love what they stand for. So I got it from them, and there I aim to, I'm not great at it yet. I plan to fill out every Sunday what I plan to do the coming week. Why is it important? Why is it important to do it on a weekly basis or know what are your monthly goals? It's because when we just start looking, or we look on a day-to-day basis, we actually just plan for different emergencies or things that are coming up, and we don't really plan into important things that are important for us, and that would result in us being very reactive instead of actually prioritizing what's the most important thing for us. So many times, you could be so busy at work and then ignoring the call from your mom to only my mom watching this will love it, only to realize that the call from your mom is way more important actually than the work is. But because if you're stressed out or anything, you will just prioritize work, and actually you'll make the thing that's more important for you feel like it's less important just because of your management, your time management, and you have not planned it. So I like looking at the week holistically and being able to plan out things that are important for me. For example, it's very important for me to work out, so I plan when I will work out and try to stick to the schedule. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but it will happen most of the times, and I'm not very harsh on myself when it doesn't happen because of some external circumstances. I will just reschedule it, but it will happen most of the times. I also plan any events that I want to go to, or any projects that I'm working on, or like big deliverables that I want to put there, like truly important but not urgent things, and I plan them out in the week. And that's great, because and then you look at your week and you still have so much time, and you already put there your most important things, and you know that it increases the likelihood of actually them being done. And then I would also what I really like in the journal, because it asks you about different aspects of your life, so it's personal life or professional life or relationships life, and you can slot different things according to your different priorities, making sure that you're actually aligned with your values and what you value in terms of what, because I think that's the problem, that many times been talking a lot, many times what we value most is not aligned with how we spend most of our time. So being able to have this bigger picture, and also once the week finished, reflect on your week and see what did you prioritize this week, what you didn't prioritize enough, and do these adjustments is so important. I cannot even stress that. So for example, some week you could be working very hard at work or very hard on your studies, and you completely neglected your working out routine, healthy eating, etc. So then when the week is over, you can reflect on your week and then decide for the next week to prioritize more of your health, more of your sleep, more of your workouts, to make sure that in the long run you're doing it in a sustainable way, and actually you can continue doing it, and actually that you're also enjoying life. So that's another component that I really like, because you can also, once you do the long-term planning, you can also schedule events that bring you joy. For example, you can schedule trips and you can plan it out accordingly to your schedule so that it fits and you can do what you love, because it's so important as well. So these are some of the tricks that I'm using. Also, what I wanted to say is, first of all, it's important in terms of even thinking about what you need to get done. I don't think it's the right way to say it. So I think in terms of productivity, it's important to know what you need to get done, what is the highest priority item, and then also once you know what's the highest priority item, to schedule it in. And then once you scheduled it in and then the time comes that you have to do it, actually doing it. So most people say that it's from the Stephen Covey's book, most people say that actually the biggest part where they struggle is when the time comes to actually do what they plan to do. And then the issue is that, and actually for me it's also true, sometimes I plan to do something and then the time comes and I'm tired or I don't feel like doing it and I don't do it. But the core root cause of that is because you have not convinced yourself of how important that thing actually is, and that's why you would not prioritize it or would not actually do it. Because your mind is a tricky thing. You just have conversations with your mind all the time and it convinces you of different things. So for you to be able to know why you're doing something. Okay, let's take an example. You really want to start working out and you decided for 1 week, you scheduled your workouts, you actually did them, and then the next week comes and now your motivation is not as high, and let's say you wanted to go for a run and you look outside the window and it's a rainy day, and now your brain will basically ask you to return to your why. It will ask you, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And if you don't have a strong enough why in that second, oh boy, you're screwed. You're not gonna go for a run. So preparing and really knowing what's your why and why you're doing this, really feeling strongly about it, will help you break through any circumstances and actually be committed to what you're doing and finalize it and get it done. So yeah, these are my thoughts on productivity and time management. So let's recap. The culture of getting everything done, being super productive all the time is not realistic, and it's not possible to do it for the rest of our lives. We do need to have rest, we need to prioritize breaks and the downtime. Okay, once we had that, then planning long-term, planning our weeks, our month, helps us put important things in our schedule, helps us put things that we actually, the fun activities that we want to do, etc., and avoids doing things ad hoc. And then also knowing our why we're doing a certain thing is very important to actually commit to executing it once we have planned it. So this was my little talk on productivity. I hope you enjoyed it, and I talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast on productivity. I love you guys. Talk soon.